There's a number I would get to on YouTube that they would go, let's give him a special. He's got enough audience. It all comes down to that, but you can't do it by yourself. It takes. I always say Hollywood is people. How do you succeed in Hollywood? I go, you don't leave. That's number one. Everybody who's left failed. I didn't make it. Well, how do you know you didn't make it? Well, I didn't. Nothing happened. I go, how do you know you left?
So I've got another question for you, and I'm sure that people say this to you flippantly, and it's an actual very genuine question. And I'm going to preface it by saying this. I don't really blow smoke. And if I have somebody on my podcast, I'm of course going to be complimentary. You do great work. I'm a fan of your book or your movie or whatever, right? But I'm not going to be inauthentic.
Right.
I genuinely believe that you are in the same conversation as Carlin and Cosby, the non-rapey version. I genuinely believe you have that level of talent. There are so few people that can do what you do consistently.
By the way, the voice just started going. Just so you know.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I love that you're bringing that up, but that's genuinely that's my view from the outside. And maybe I'm not a professional comedian, but I've been in media for a good portion of my life, and I've watched a lot of comedy. And there are a lot of great people, but I think that there's something very unique that you have, that it's not just comedy, it's not just well written, there's performance to it. There's so many components beyond just I'm a good writer and I'm performing good comedy, right? So here's the question. All that was a preface to that. Why don't you have a Netflix special?
Remember the story I told earlier about the network president? So here's the one thing about Hollywood, and you probably all know this. When because Titus was I mean, Stacy Keach, it wasn't because of me. It was because of the team we had. The idea was, but we pulled off something pretty groundbreaking at the time, in a sense of sitcoms. And the story is, and I've told the story, I probably added to the legend of it, but I kind of fucked it up. And in a sense that I didn't punch anybody. I didn't do anything crazy. I just, I was very honest with somebody who wielded their power like a weapon, and that was a mistake of mine. My diplomacy was. So over the years, I think that story has gotten around, and people know I'm very specific about what I want. With a Netflix special, all it would take was, here's a Netflix special. But everybody does calculations, man. It's all what's hip in the business, what's new. And I've kind of pulled myself out. Perfect example of what you're saying. There's a couple people in the industry that I know that are really ass kissers. They go everywhere. They talk to everybody. They're nice. They bullshit everybody. And like you said, I can't be inauthentic. I'm diplomatic now. I don't have to say, you suck, but I can be like, yeah, I don't enjoy, yeah, no, you're great. It's great. I can, but I don't like to lie. It makes me icky. So I don't hang out in show business. I have a few show business friends, and there are also people that don't hang out in show business. I have a good friend of mine who's currently on a TV show right now, a national sitcom. He doesn't like show business. He doesn't hang out in show business. He just doesn't. He goes to what he has to. Because I don't do that, I don't have that networking thing. And not only do I not have it, I always think my talent should be enough, or it won't, so I don't have it. A lot of comics have that. I just have never been that guy. Here's a quick story. When I did Star Search, first two, I think I got 3 things in Star Search. I think I got beat by a guy with a puppet or a guitar or something. And I was killing the first 2. And after the second one, the 2 producers invited me to go hang out with them. They're like, come on, man. Going back to, it was in Orlando at Disney World. We're filming it. And, come on, man, come back to the hotel. We're going to hang out. I get to the hotel. I think we're just going to have dinner or whatever. And all of a sudden they go, yo, man, we got some girls coming over, a bunch of alcohol. And I was like, and I went, yeah. Oh, I said, and here's what I said. I'll never forget it, because the looks on their faces, I'll never forget it. I said, oh, so you guys aren't in show business to create good stuff. You're in show business for the girls and the party. And I thought they would laugh. They didn't laugh. And I said, I'm married, guys. I can't be here when a bunch of women are here. I'm gonna go to my hotel, thanks. And those 2 specific guys, one of them became very high on a network level. The other one is a very, very huge manager right now. And they don't call a lot. And all it does is, so do me a favor. The other thing I would give you is people, you can be authentic, but also have some diplomacy, which I don't have.
Well, you're not supposed to have a filter. That's your
I
job,
know.
is to not have a filter.
I know it's my job to not, and then I get in trouble for not, but it's okay. So Netflix special. I'm saying it. My Netflix special is going to happen ASAP. I have
That was going to be my next question.
Yes.
Do you want a Netflix special?
Who doesn't want a Netflix special? You know, it's a great platform, or an HBO special, or even on Hulu. My stuff's been on. I've had 6 on Comedy Central. My buddy Billy says, he says, you got to stay in the box, Titus. You got to stay in the box. Somehow you got to get in the box. So there's some specific things you have to do in show business to maintain. Like if you don't edit for 10 years and you try to get an editing job, you're not getting an editing job. But if you go, oh, I'm still did it. I edited these 10 things. You know, I'm always writing a new script. I'm always, you know, submitting new stuff. I love the business. I love it. I would love to be on a TV show for the next 4 years, but I'm never going to give up stand-up. Stand-up is where I live. So a Netflix special, more than anything, I would love to have a special where more people. Here's the great thing about television. Like this you saw the new special. You saw us film it.
Yeah, I was there live. By the
Right.
way, I was sitting next to your manager, which I didn't know. So number one, you must have got me an amazing seat because I'm literally next to your manager. And about halfway through, I'm like, this guy doesn't seem like he's that into it. Because he's probably seen it 20 times. Like, I'm laughing my ass off, and he's like, I'm like, what's this guy's problem? This is hilarious. And then afterwards in the green room, I'm like, oh, that was his manager.
Yeah, no, every moment he's thinking, okay, all right, he didn't fuck that up. Okay, he didn't fuck that up. Okay, he didn't fuck that up. That's the voice in my head. What was that to say? Yeah, so you're sitting there, but thanks for that show. So that show, everybody I've performed that show for already, all the people, all the shows I've done, the year it took me to build that show. Imagine how many audiences, how many packed houses, how many theaters. It's less than like 1% or 2% of what people would see it if you showed it on Netflix. And that, I mean, you want to get your message out there. So I would love that. And I've got invited to I'm going to go to the Fringe Festival in Scotland to do my other show, Carrion Monsters, that I wrote during COVID. And I didn't get a chance to figure it out. So I'm taking that to Scotland. And that's real personal. That's not as, like this one, you saw it. It's very kind of socially relevant on what's going on the planet right now. As I called it, a blunt assessment of what's happened in the last 2.5 years. Yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Okay.
What's it going to take to get the Netflix special?
Okay, well, I've put those. Okay, so again, people, I know what you're going for. You have to get. It doesn't work by yourself. You have to have a community around you. There's no one on the planet has gotten success by themselves. It just doesn't happen. It may seem like they did. You know, it may seem like certain people, oh, the guy's so talented, of course he's successful. No, there's a group of managers or agents or whatever, or there's someone that either convinced him, promoted him, connected him to somebody else, him or her to somebody else, and that's where they got it. And you can't forget those people. So I have a manager now that is busting his ass. I have agents, and I'm doing everything I can, whether it's the podcast I do or YouTube channel. And there's a number that it doesn't even matter how good it is. There's a number I would get to on YouTube that they would go, let's give him a special. He's got enough audience. It all comes down to that, but you can't do it by yourself. It takes. I always say Hollywood is people go, how do you succeed in Hollywood? I go, you don't leave. That's number one. Everybody who's left failed. I didn't make it. Well, how do you know you didn't make it? Well, nothing happened. I go, how do you know you left? You know, it doesn't count. So Hollywood to me is always, and I've said people when young comics ask me, how do you make it? And I go, well, imagine Hollywood is 100 concentric walls. You're out here. You're banging your head against this wall. And when that wall falls, the wall inside's a little bit nicer, but you still got to keep banging your head against it. And you got to keep banging your head against it. And then it falls. And then you go to the next one. In the middle is Brad Pitt, or whoever Ryan Reynolds. They're in the center. They're in the center wall. But even though they'll get sent over the wall one day, so you got to keep banging your head, and you got to really appreciate the people that helped you. You know, Titus would not have gotten done without Brian Hargrove and Jack Kenny, Mindy Schulteis. I had an executive that in a meeting at Fox. They before the pilot got approved, they were like, well, it's a little edgy. It's too far for us. This was Fox, by the way. We don't know if we want to do this. And Mindy Schulteis stood up, slammed the script on the table and went, are you out of your fucking mind? Have you read this? This is the funniest thing we have. We don't have a script in the last 10 years that's fucking funny. And the next thing I know, that they approved the pilot. So, and I'll never thank her enough for that. So remember those people to help you. So with Netflix, I'm doing this. I got my manager on it right now. He's going to everybody. I am going to submit the finished special to them. Again, if that doesn't work, we're moving on to Hulu and HBO. But I am on it. I am on it, and it's happening this year. I've done too many, too long, and it's too damn good.